lot of people that we're going to recognize, so we're going to start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move on next to approval of the agenda 4.1. I recommend that the board approves the June 3rd, 2019 agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mars.
Aye.
McFarland.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ringer.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, President's report. Public comments will occur during the public comments portion of the meeting. If you're interested in addressing the board, fill out the required public participation at board meetings form and submit it to Ms. Mitchell, who's in the front row. One comment I want to make this evening. We had graduation last Saturday, June 1st. Magnificent. Every graduation went really well. The thing I want to point out here, from the statistics given to us, 75% of our students, our seniors, are going to either to a 2-year or 4-year college. That's incredible. You know, we get ripped on every once in a while, but the thing is, our teachers and our kids are doing a good job, so kudos to our kids. That is a lot of kids going to college somewhere. Okay, 5.2, we'll do board salutes. Mr. Miller?
Yeah, so let me pull up my calendar here. So going back to May 21st, I got to attend the District 186 retirement dinner, which was a wonderful celebration. We've got a lot of good teachers that have definitely paid their dues and deserve a good retirement. See, the next day I was invited to the municipal inauguration out of UIS, and it was nice to be able to congratulate Mayor Langfelder, the clerk, Frank Lesko, and also Treasurer Misty Busher, along with all the other council members. Moving forward the next week, this would be last Thursday. I was lucky enough to check out the NAACP program that Mr. Albert Betts helps to manage, and also to meet Tim Allen, who is going to be trying to take over some of the reins for Mr. Betts. And so Mr. Betts, he was kind of an institution in the community. He's somebody who was a principal at Grant right before I went there, and my brother put the fear of God into me, that what I was going to expect. And then also at Landfair, where Mr. Betts was. And he's a guy that has a lot of respect in the community. I'm really proud of the program he's got over there. I got to meet some of the students and also some of the teachers. Also want to give a shout out to the Urban League for providing meals. These are students that would otherwise not have a program, so it's very admirable, and I'm glad that I was able to take the time to check it out. And then additionally, just all the graduation ceremonies over the weekend with Lawrence Education Center. They had a good turnout there. They had some board members represented. And then Saturday was the first time that I got to sit on the other side of the table. I think it had been 23 years since I was in that room at a graduation ceremony, and it was when I was at Landfair. So it was a very good opportunity, and as President Zimmer said, there's a lot of kids that are going on to a bright future.
I too, May and June are busy months, and I too had a chance to celebrate with our retirees, and just want to thank them for their years of service to the district. We're kind of glad that they're going to be able to enjoy themselves. Going forward, we're going to miss their expertise and their experience. That's for sure. Big shoes to fill, but we're going to do our best, and we're going to continue. Also had the honor and the privilege to attend all 4 of the graduations. There are so many positive things with all of our graduates, and the energy at all the graduations. It's just sitting and watching and seeing the names being called and the families' reactions and the students' reactions. I mean, there's a lot to be proud of the product, the educational product that we have in 186. And, as President Zimmer's mentioned, we have 75% of our students that are going to continue their education, and I'm sure that we have, people that are going to go into work programs and they're going to look at technical schools and things like that. And I know we have a good representation that are going to be joining the military. So I think, I think the class of 2019 will be future stars. I have no doubt about that, and I'm just honored and privileged to be able to attend all those ceremonies and feed off of the excitement and the energy that not only the students have, but their parents and anyone that is with them that has supported them through their educational endeavors. So, thank you.
Okay. It's my turn. It's ditto for all the graduation ceremonies, but I always try to attend all of the graduation ceremonies that I can, especially the high school level. And the Lawrence education is a great celebration of students who have not been able to make it through the system, but they are still a part of the system, so it's wonderful. I also had opportunity to go to Matheny Withrow and to Hazeldale. They had their moving up ceremonies, and they went over their data and awarded students their certificates of achievement. And there were so many kids that were able to move up and got so many awards. And this year they gave them the medallions like the high school students get. And so it was cute to watch them bend their heads over and get their medallion. So it was a lot of fun. It was orderly. It was a little, my house is quiet because it's only me, so it was a little noisy, but we made it through the day. The retirement dinner was great also. And I also went to one retirement celebration. Another one of the best graduation ceremonies was at SLA, Springfield Learning Academy. Those children can't make it in their regular classroom setting, but I think they had about 15 or 20 kids that graduated this time, and it was so much fun watching them receive their accolades from the principal. And they had a ball, and they seemed to support each other for a small program. It's like Lawrence. The students seem to become a small family, and I think that's one of the greatest things we have done in a long time. So we need to really increase access to SLA, so maybe we wouldn't have quite as many disturbances in the building. But it's a great program, and they're learning, and they're going on to graduate. And there were several students there who had been through the program, alums, so they came to support their fellow students. So I thought that was magnificent. I also had an opportunity to go to the, I don't know what the formal title of it is, but the data review. We went over with all the district officials and some community members, and you learn interesting things when we are looking at our own data. So I think that Mr. McFarland was there, and Mr. Zimmers, and the rest of you should consider trying to participate on the next score. Well, maybe you can't go tomorrow, but next year, it's a great process to learn about the district. And I think as a result of the information that Zaire shared with us from the students, when we do the hardcore review tomorrow, we will hopefully come up with some workable solutions about how to continue improving our district.
Thank you.
Thanks. I just want to add something about Lawrence. If you've never been to a Lawrence graduation, you're missing something, because it is a celebration. It is wonderful. People are so excited that their kids are getting through. So if you ever get that opportunity, do it.
So I also went to the 3 high school graduations, and it's a lot of fun. And how many $1 million of scholarships in the 20s?
Across all high schools,
Yes.
$43.7 million in scholarships were offered.
That's incredible. Good job to the students. So congratulations to all the seniors that graduated, and congratulations to the staff, the teachers, and everybody that helped get them through the system. I also went to the annual safety review that was held a few weeks ago, and it's basically where the school district personnel get together, and then the city and county police and the fire department and whatnot, and they talk about the things that happen throughout the school and things that they're planning on doing in the future. It's a very cohesive team. You know, they want to protect the students, they want to protect the district, so it was a really good meeting that we had.
People from some of our unincorporated communities too, Jerome, Grandview.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, sadly, I wasn't able to go to the graduation, but...
First time ever, though.
It was the first time, but I have a good excuse. My daughter, who's a 2011 graduate of Springfield High School, she is a nurse at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Well, she had her first baby. Yeah, and it was actually... Next meeting, we'll have a picture. So anyways, yeah, so I went up to Minnesota to help her out. But congratulations to all the graduates, and terrific job in all those scholarships. Very proud moment for our district.
Yeah, I would second, third, or fourth, whatever it is, with the graduations and all the amazing work that was done there. And also thank you to the staff who put on the events throughout that day. I know Mr. Wynn was running around crazy the whole time, and a whole bunch of other folks were doing it too, so thank you all for putting on a great show for our 3 high schools. I also want to second the salute for the data review, at least the first half. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Ms. Boozer and her team have been doing really well at providing quite a bit of data to us, and as a data nerd, I appreciate that, even though I may have picked apart a little bit of it, but it was good. And it's amazing to see those about, 170 people, roughly? 197. We had to open another room because there was not enough room for everybody, and it was a great conversation. Some really good key findings came out of it, so I appreciate that, and thank you for the invite for that.
Just remember, it's at the IEA building.
Yes, it's moving.
Different spot, so
Yes.
you can remember to go. Yeah.
And then finally, it's Pride Month, so I want to salute all of our LBGT teachers, students, community partners. It's amazing the impact that community has on our city, and I am very proud that we are working towards being a more inclusive and equal community, and we've got a long way to go, but we're getting there. So thank you to you.
Now we're going to move on to celebrations here. 5.3, recognition. The first group we're going to recognize as a perennial state power is the girls' Southeast track team. Seems like they place just about every year that they go to state. So if Coach Barb Montgomery could come up.
Rise.
So just in case we haven't said it enough, they took second place at the IHSA 2A state track and field meet. So congratulations. Thank you. You guys want to put it up here a little bit? We can put it right there. I haven't touched it yet. Gives us good luck. Thank you. That's a piece of hardware.
Big mouth. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Once again, I am Barb Montgomery. This is my certificate of recognition. I just want to say thank you very much to Superintendent Gill and to the school board and to everyone else who helps make this event tonight a success. It's all about the young people that we get the chance to mold and help shape into whatever they want to be when they grow up. And I like it because I don't have to coach, I get to coach. And so this is a joy for me. This is not a job. This is something that I like. From January to May, I'm in hog heaven. I'm stressed a lot, but this is what I like to do. So enough of that, and let's get to the introductions. This is one of my coaches. This is Liz Kennedy. She is also an alumni of Southeast and a product of District 186. I have other coaches who are not here. Coach Danielle Pitts, Coach Shirley Bernstein, Reggie Brooks, Coach Leah is presently out at Southeast right now doing the Springfield Striders. This was the first night of practice, so she couldn't be here. Coach Sierra McGrone. Let's start with who we have. We have India Jackson, who qualified in the 4x1, 100 hurdles, 300 hurdles, and the 4x4.
Good job.
Raven Moore, 100, 200, 400, 4x1. Caitlin Florence, 4x1, 4x4, 100 hurdles, 300 hurdles. Summer Williams, 4x1, high jump, and 4x4. Sasha Gordon, who is our alternate for the who ran the 4x2 alternate 4x1, and she also qualified in the 4x4. Brianna Jones, alternate. Amaya Symington, alternate. And also, the young lady that's sitting right here in the front, a lot of you all may have gotten to know her. Her name is Caitlin Kotsky. She was our first ever wheelchair participant in IHSA history for Springfield schools. She took first place in the shot put, discus, and she got second in the 100 and the 200. Serena couldn't be here. She graduated on Saturday and she left Saturday night. So she's already at LSU, getting ready to do whatever it is that they have for her to do. But once again, thank you very much for the honor and the privilege to be here and to show some love to our young ladies.
Congratulations. And at Southeast, parents that came with these young ladies, if you want to remain standing, because they couldn't do what they do without you.
Amen.
So.
Congratulations, Barb.
Thank you. I know. Right?
Now, if we could have Coach Kirby Hale come forward. We're going to stick with the girls' sports right now.
Kirby, congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. Hello. My superstar couldn't make it today, but Lauren Ferguson was our representative. She got 8th place in the 3A 300-meter hurdles. She's going to UIC next year to learn and run. So, yes, thank you very much.
Will you share? One thing about Lauren is that she had a shot, but she had a stress fracture. She actually took her boot off to run that and still got 8th place. So, you know, she was under so she has a bright future ahead too.
Okay, now we're going to have Coach Mike Garcia come up from Lanphier High School. He also had a state champion this year on his team, and we'll have him.
Thank you, Mike, for all your years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Mike Garcia. I'm the track and cross-country coach at Lanphier and been there forever. But, so I've been too long, some people say, but I just wanted to thank the board for allowing us to do this, because I believe that a lot of times track and field kids get overlooked, and this is a great opportunity for them to see that people care and want to see them succeed. So thank you very much for doing this. And I know as a former track athlete, I felt that way, and I appreciate all the recognition he's earned with the great effort that he put in all season long. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, in track, we divide up our coaching staff into, you might work with the long and triple jumpers, you might work with the shot putters, you might work with the distance runners. Well, I have a great coach named Bobby Wilson, graduate of 186, and he's an outstanding coach. He couldn't make it tonight, but I just be remiss if I didn't mention all the effort he's put in. This isn't his first state placer, but this is his first state champ, and we're really proud of what he did. I also would like to thank Lanford for giving me the opportunity to coach. You know, every year it's, you know, life throws you curveballs, and they're still allowing me to get up to the bat and coach, so I got to thank Mr. Doss and Mr. Trigg for giving me these opportunities. What I sat there and thought about, what am I going to say about Khalil? So I went to the expert, my father, and I said, Dad, what? My dad ran a painting company for a long time, painting business. And I said, what do you remember most about your best workers? And he'd say, well, this guy could do this guy could do that, but consistency. And that's a great word to describe Khalil. He's always at practice. He's consistent in his grades. I don't have to sit there and check on his grades. To show you how consistent he is, when you go to the state track meet and you triple jump, you take 3 jumps on Friday in front of this big crowd at O'Brien Stadium, and he plays, they play in the sand away from, David knows this too, you guys play away from the crowds, and all of a sudden there's a big crowd there, and he handled it very well. He had 3 jumps Friday, 3 jumps Saturday. He did not foul one time, which is very impressive. You know, at Lanford, we're fortunate that we can put the pictures up of the state champs on the wall, and one of his friends told me, make sure when you put his picture up there, you don't put it next to KJ Farley, because KJ was this big, brawny shot putter. It might not make him look as strong, but Khalil did an outstanding job all year. When I talk about consistency, you have to realize we have a very tough schedule. And outdoor track, he only lost twice, and we're a 2A school based on enrollment, and he lost twice all year to 3A kids. So he did a very commendable job by competing at a high level. I was very pleased with his efforts. To show you how dedicated he is to getting better in cross country, he runs cross country to get better for track and field. That's what I meant to say. And I know he just loves every minute hearing me say we're going to run some miles today in the heat, but he does it, and it pays off in the long run for him as a triple jumper. And we're fortunate. I hope next year we're back up here again. He's a state champ, and I can tell you that some college has decided to get him to compete for them. He has impressed the colleges not only with his athletic ability, but his dedication in the classroom, the way he carries himself. A coach couldn't be prouder. I mean, any triple jumper that runs cross country should probably have their head checked, but no, he did a great job, and that impresses the colleges a lot, that this young man is willing to go above and beyond. And Micah, you ran for me, so you know it's not easy, but it's worth it. And I'm so proud of him, and we joke about, you know, who was going to get the picture up there next on our wall, and it was him. And I'm really proud of that, and it didn't hit me at the state meet that, hey, he won. You know, he's a state champ. It didn't. I'm just watching him jump, and it didn't dawn on me until this last week. I go, it's another state champ. It's another picture, and hopefully we'll make Mr. Trigg work hard to get the right frame for it and everything, and be happy. But again, thank you everyone for recognizing this great young man, and hopefully we're back next year with some more good news. Thank you for everything.
Khalil, before you go, do you have family here that came with you?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to introduce them?
Yeah, this is my little sister Shago, my little brother Davion, little sister. This is my mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh wow. I just wanted to say one thing. I was watching online both weekends of the track to see how you guys were doing. Friday night, you had jumped, was it 49 something?
Friday night, I jumped to 45.8.
Okay, but whatever it was, you had like a 3-foot lead on the next competitor, and I'm like, he's got this. Didn't have to worry about it, so
Thank
good
you,
job.
congratulations.
Okay, next we have Coach Trey Cotner from Springfield High, and he also has a state champion.
Sure does. And a graduate.
And a graduate.
Mike Garcia is a tough act to follow. He's been doing this for a long time. For those of you that haven't had a chance to see the 1450 video of the tribute they did for him in his meet this year, it was special to be a part of, and he's just a great guy. A little about Robert. This year, Robert was 2 hurdles away from an undefeated season. He just reminded me of that, actually. We went to a meetup in Chicago. He was blowing the field away. The guy comes on the announce, this guy's going to break the meet record. And the next thing, I look back to see another one of our athletes charging down the home stretch into second. And all of a sudden I hear, ooh, and I didn't even see it. And I look over and Robert's getting off the ground and clipped the hurdle, went down.
Your one mistake.
Yeah, his one mistake. So, but he reminded me of that earlier because I was about to get up here and say an undefeated season, but it was close, two hurdles away. But it was something that he learned from, and it carried over at the state meet. If you watched his race at the state meet, it's online. Our athletic trainer, Karen Gregory, streamed it live for our student body on Twitter, and had a lot of people watch that and cheered for Robert. And just a special kid, come a long way. And it's been a lot of fun to watch his maturity from his freshman year when he broke his arm practicing, and then to where he is now as a state champion. He will be attending the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign next year. He will be competing in track there. Just one more thing about Robert. For those that don't know track a little bit, we had our 4x4 also qualified for state at the 3A class, which is the biggest class in Illinois. On our 4x4 leg, he got the baton. He's our anchor at the sectional meet, and we got the baton at 3:25, and I was like, all right, he just has to run a 49, and we're going to hit the qualifying time. He ran a 47.1. Wow. His future track coach was in the stands, ran up to me, held the stopwatch to make sure that mine matched his, because us coaches have quick trigger fingers. And my assistant coach texted me. I texted him the split. He said, no, that's wrong. You're notoriously quick. And then I sent him a picture of mine and the Illinois coach's thing. And the coach looked at me and said, he's going to be an Olympian. So.
Cool.
And I would be remiss to not mention our hurdles coach. My staff at Springfield High School is all District 186 graduates. James Ballard, Southeast graduate. Kanan Reinberger, who's our hurdles coach, who works with Lauren and Robert. At one time this year, Lauren Ferguson was ranked #1 in the state of Illinois. She still has the fastest time this year that she ran the day before she texted us and said she couldn't walk. And then Robert also had the #1 time in 3A, so Kanan does a great job. He's a Springfield High School graduate. Justin Lee, also a Springfield High School graduate. Kirby Hale, who is just here, she's also a Springfield High graduate. Stephen Bland, also a Springfield High graduate. So it's a lot of fun to have all these guys come back and want to help out the program that they all went through, and I think it's a testament to the district and the kids they get to work with. So. Yeah.
Robert, do you have family with you this evening?
This is my sister.
Okay.
Unlike Lanphier, Robert is our 4th state champion in school.
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
Okay, now we're going to have Coach Chris Hood from Southeast come forward, and he had 2 students that placed at the state meet for Southeast.
Good to see you as well, sir. Always good to see you.
Congratulations, sir.
All right, my name is Coach Chris Hood. I am not a graduate of Springfield, I'm sorry. I'm from a small town up north in Eureka. My assistant coaches, Coach Don Oliver, Coach James Howell, Coach Clifton Jones, and Coach Caleb Harris, who looks like he's still a student. They are all graduates from Southeast High School. And like my other colleagues have said, this job that I don't really consider a job would be very tough without these guys. I'm in a little bit of a different boat. I'm an elementary school teacher that loves track and field. And so I thank the board and thank Mrs. Gill and thank my principal and everybody who's been a principal of mine to let me do what I love to do. We have three athletes that made it to the state competition and 2 made it to the finals. First, I have David Amusi on the end there. He made finals in both the long jump and the high jump. Probably the highlight of the season was when we went to Granite City. And again, for those of you that don't know long jump, you run down an alley and jump into sand. And Granite City, for some reason, has a runway that kind of goes uphill. And he PR'd there and got the meet record, 23 feet 1 inch. And he probably did the highest backflip I've ever seen after jumping that. But he's a fan of the sport as well. I'll get messages from him late at night. Hey, did you see this happen? Did you see this? What should I do with this? Shows me videos. He analyzes what he does at all times. We tried to adjust a few things right before state, and we said, you know what, forget about it. That's something to do at the beginning of next year. And his very first jump at state, which was scratched by probably that much, could have possibly been the leading jump going into Saturday. But he ended up 4th place in the long jump. In high jump, he's been coming in at 5'8" all year. At state, they say you have to come in at 6 foot. So a little bit different. Missed his first attempt, but didn't miss at all on Friday. And 6'3" was to make it to Saturday. And then they basically take the top, however many, this time it happened to be 9, and they start over on Saturday. And leg was hurting a little bit, ended up 9th place, but it's the podium, it's getting a medal, it's being all-state. Couldn't be more proud. One thing that I wish IHSA would do is let us coach a little bit more, especially high jumpers. They gave us a box this year, but it was kind of like a holding cell. So I couldn't really talk to him very much. So David's had a great career. He's a junior. Look forward to next year. Very excited about that. My other athlete that made it to finals on Saturday is Wesley Steffens. He is the boys wheelchair division racer. He made it in 4 events, the 100, the 200, the shot put, and the disc. In those events, he finished 5th place in the 200, 4th place in the 100, 3rd place in the shot, 3rd place in the disc. He did get a PR in every single event that he participated in. Now, before I give out certificates and everything, I just wanted to say not only thank you to the board again, but also the community of Springfield. As a lot of you know, we raised the money for the wheelchairs, and one racing wheelchair is about $3,000. And without the community support, we would not have been able to offer that to our students at Southeast. And with us starting that, we're hoping that more schools, not only Springfield, but around the area, are able to offer that as well. Susan from Susan Auto Mall, she was a big donator. The Alumni Association at Southeast was a big donator. We had doctors that I don't even know that donated quite a bit. Restaurant owners from Chicago that are Southeast alumni donated as well. So without the support of the community, these guys wouldn't have gotten a chance to participate. So I thank them highly. So thank you very much.
And if you guys have family here, if you'd introduce them. Okay, with you.
Got his dad back there?
Okay.
All right. I should have said that second. All right, and our last presentation tonight, I would like to thank some people who have been around with me for my entire superintendency that have helped me and given me feedback during my superintendent's roundtable. And due to graduations and other things, they're rolling off of that responsibility. But first up, I'd like to recognize Kim Small, who's also a mother of an athlete, and she's been on my roundtable for 9 years, so my entire, and even before that. So Kim, come on up. So much, and congratulations, I know. Yes, thank you for everything.
Congratulations.
Where's your graduate headed?
Lindenwood University football.
That's right. I remembered football, but in Lindenwood,
But
yes.
the most important thing, he's going to be physical therapy.
That's right. There you go. That's right. All right, and also I have husband and wife, Art and Kathleen Neal. They've been on here for 10 years. And you had a graduate this year as well, and one that past graduate in the, oh, there we go. Art, Kathleen. Thanks for your service. Thanks for, I know you won't keep giving me feedback. You'll call me if I need to know anything. I know I will. It won't stop. And also, I have another couple who have been faithful and come to all the meetings, Lasagna Crawford-Jones and Cliff Jones, if you could come on up. And I know you'll call me too. You know where to find me, right? Okay. Aw, thank you so much for everything.
Congratulations.
You know I keep close with your family, so thank you for everything you've done. So just so you know, the roundtable meets monthly, and if any families are interested in joining us, we'd love to have new membership for next year. So they give us a lot of input and help us out at city tournament and everything. Thank you.
Okay, a lot of fun celebrations.
As an aside, before we move on.
Yes.
Cliff and his family, the Jones family, have a yearly
Peggy,
concert. They are musicians, and they have a beautiful gospel concert every year. And yesterday they had their conference concert at Fresh Visions Church, and I'm telling you, we really rocked the house because it was fantastic.
All right. And Peggy Cormany is sitting out in the audience. I'd like to thank you, Peggy, too, for helping me with the roundtable and getting all the logistics. And, you know, it's really nice. It's a nice event. And so thank you so much for your work.
Okay, now we'll move on to discussion item 6.1, old business. Do any board members have any old business they'd like to discuss?
Yes, just want to, we had a member from the audience last board meeting, and we said that we would like kind of give some feedback as to what the response was.
Right. So a concerned parent from Southeast High School, Tammy Bolden, came and spoke, and she just wanted to make sure, and I think we heard some reference to it tonight about how we always put plaques up of our state champions with their pictures and their event. Just wanted to make sure that you all know that we have, are in the process of completing that process. There's state recognition plaques for 9 individual athletes or relay teams that will be on permanent display display in the Shuffler Gymnasium. They're going to have a 36 by 24-inch wood plaque. The school has ordered 11 of them just to be a little ahead of the game because we're anticipating some great athletes coming up. That was a cost of $1,375. Also, the metal work for each plaque with their name and the plate is working on completion right now because we just got all the names for $192. There'll be a photo on the plaque as well. They're in production right now. They're $35 each, and they get matted around the outside, and that's $41. Mr. DeVoe and Mr. Williams were able to use funds from Southeast High School to purchase all of the components of the plaques, and the school's happy to have them up, assembled, and ready for installation by the end of June at the latest. The biggest problem was the original plaques. The company that we had gone to for so many years went out of business, and so they had to just reorder everything. So it wasn't a matter of cost, it was a matter of just getting the bids out and getting the right materials together, and so we're sorry for any confusion that might have caused, but those will be up in June and displayed for all to see. Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Marks.
Thank you.
Okay, any other old business? Hearing none, we'll move on to 6.2. This is something we briefly talked about in the last meeting. This is board first reading, board policy, board member code of conduct. So you've all had this previously to this meeting. And so what we need to do at this meeting is, if there are any discussion, any concerns about what was handed to you, this would be a time to discuss any revisions you might.
And I know our board attorney did look at this and made a couple revisions. The thing I noticed is originally when I drafted the language, it was candidates and current members of the Board of Education. He changed it to elected officials. So that was a change that Mr. Cross made.
And so instead of Board of Education?
Yeah, he expanded to all elected officials.
Yeah, they cleaned up some other language, which I'm glad they did too.
Okay.
Okay, I know what you're trying to achieve with these policies, but we're looking at 2.35. I think that the original language is sufficient. I think that the change would be kind of boxing us in a little bit. So I didn't want to. Yeah, I think the original language suffices.
I don't believe so because we saw last year that it didn't. So that's why I added the language. If it was sufficient enough, we would not have had events, which we did.
Which one are we talking about specifically?
235, the first one.
Oh, here's the number, 235. Yeah. Okay. It's just the board member code of conduct.
You're talking about A2? Is that the section?
Yeah, it's A2,
Yeah,
correct.
A2.
Oh, you're going by that,
Well,
okay.
this is the revised one, this was the original one.
Right, yeah, this is the original language right here.
Oh, this was the original one. This is one in our packet tonight. This is from last night. This is what I was provided in.
It's the same.
You're talking about the red underlined portion.
Okay.
Last meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I believe it's the same language. He didn't make any corrections on it for 235.
Can you read it just to make sure we're clear on what we're talking about?
The copy I have that we got today was the A sub 2, and then the new language would be, this would include but not be limited to having district-sponsored events named after him, her, or having his, her name placed on school property, except in case of dedication plaques where all current board members are listed. And again, I appreciate Ms. Moore's comment there, but again, we have seen recently that this language was not sufficient, so I'm asking to improve it.
Okay, it wasn't, I mean, I think that the board, that we failed to, act on our, concerns, for the, the naming of the tournament and the signage, and, but we figured it was a done deal. And so, but we should have, acted on it sooner. I just think that, with this language, that if we I mean, here, if we just read it and say, we're not using our position for personal gain and publicity, period, I mean, that encompasses a lot right then and there. And, because there could be other things introduced in the future that haven't been thought of. And so are we going to be updating this policy every time something comes up that we say, okay, let's just add that and add that?
Yes, is my answer.
Well,
Yes, we should update continually.
Yeah, but if we just say, personal gain and publicity, personal gain or publicity, that, and the other thing too is that, part of our responsibility as board members is that we have to govern ourselves, and that, that's part of governing ourselves.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with any point you're making, except for as a community member looking from the outside in, which I was until a few months ago, it didn't happen. So that's why I'm bringing this forward.
And this is the first reading.
And personally, I hear what you're saying, Donna. I think it moves the needle a little further in the right direction, so I generally understand the point of it, and I'm agreeable with it.
Well, while we're on it, are there any other sections that anybody has issues with, concerns about, questions about?
So in 410.07, again, pretty much, the same, my same thoughts. What I have concern in this area mainly is the specification of declared candidates, because I'm afraid that it might discourage some people for running for a board position, and because excuse me, because we have a lot of active parents within our schools, and there could be the potential of an event being named after that parent, or they could have their name, on, the facility somewhere. And if that occurs, then that's, this policy is kind of limiting their ability to become a candidate. Or what about family members? Here we have schools that are named after people.
Sure.
And if they have a family member that will be running for a position within our school board, that could be claimed that, this person's name is on this school. So
I've thought this very same thing, because we have lots of gymnasiums named after lots of people. I'm no lawyer, but I don't believe board policy can be made retroactively. So if somebody had something happen when they weren't a candidate, then they decide years later or even the next week to run as a candidate, the board policy doesn't control that. So what this is trying to do, at least in my reason why I did this, was you announce to be a candidate for the school board, and then 2 weeks later you make a big donation to a school and get your name somewhere, which at that point would be a campaign expense. And I'm trying to stay away from that. So that's what, again, I completely agree where you're coming from, but I think the policy is secure in making sure something like that does not happen.
Do you mind reading this just to make sure we're clear on which language we're talking about? Just so I can follow.
So it's 410.07, the operational services, fiscal management, revenue, gifts, grants, and bequeaths.
I got the right page. It's up in the corner.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I'll just go like this.
Yeah, because it's the same in both the digital and printout, I believe. So it starts with the highlight section that Rob highlighted, Mr. Cross. Declared candidates elected or for elected office or current elected officials may give gifts, grants, and donations, but the candidate or elected official's name may not be displayed, and so forth.
I mean, even if they give a big donation, their name's still going to go into the, publicized in the paper and such. I doubt very much that the school is going to put a plaque in the school within the period that they're going to be running.
And I'm sure folks will find loopholes. Unfortunately, they've been finding loopholes for years in policy, but I'm just trying to strengthen the policy as much as I can right now. And I hope that if we do run into issues where we have concerns about this or any other issue, we continue to come back and amend our policies, which is some of our duty.
I know this is the first reading, and I have a suggestion here, if you guys don't mind, and maybe this is something, we have not reconvened our policy committee in quite some time because we haven't had the need for it. I'm kind of suggesting, because we could talk about this here for quite a while and come to no resolution. I think we maybe need to rework the language. So my suggestion is between now and maybe the next meeting, if we could convene a policy meeting to kind of work on this language. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that.
That's fine. There was one part in here I wanted to bring up, though, if it's okay. It's, I guess, 450.105, where it talks about political signage at educational candidate forums, basically saying no political signage will be allowed at educational candidate forums. So this is something that kind of hit on us when we were at a candidates forum. As opposed to just saying no political signage, I kind of feel like you should either allow the political signage and the political event or not, but not have kind of half of it. So, and I don't really have a strong feeling either way if we want to allow political forums on school facilities or not, but I feel like it doesn't really do it a service if you say you can have it and then put a lot of stipulations on it that will apply elsewhere. Because, I mean, we could have easily had one at the library, and I think it would have been just as fine. So that's just something that I wanted to mention.
Well, I wanted to mention too, that same policy that, I disagreed with having no political signage, because we have made an exception to board policy and did allow a forum in the school. But I think that the political signage for that event actually is good advertisement and, could encourage people to come to the forum and listen to, some of the discussion.
I just think it would be confusing to have one and not be very clear. I mean, and are we talking about literature? I mean, at what point you draw a line? So
Sounds like it's going to be a really good policy committee discussion.
Yeah.
Did I hear you say you wanted to head that committee up?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Our policy committee did quite a bit several years ago.
There was
so
a
it sounds
second
good.
policy brought forward as well, and just kind of concludes, I think, the conversation that we brought up regarding board member compensation expenses for attending events where the board members have educational opportunities. And I believe if you look at 215.03, Board Member Johnson had brought this forward. It's right here. Yeah, right there. And I believe we had the conversation, we highlighted the parts that we had a conversation about at the last board meeting, but we didn't have this policy in front of you, so we wanted to bring that. And the part in red is the only part that was added, just for clarification, that prepayment of certain allowable expenses include things like registration, and you prepay your train or your flight, those kind of things. So.
I don't see any red on the digital copy. Does anyone see it?
It's right under the word advancements and right
Oh, so
next to it. That's all it is the header is all it is.
Okay. Oh, cool. My bad. Thank you.
Mr. McFarland, do
The
you want
yellow is all just up, just highlighting, just bringing out what she brought up last time so that you could
Got it.
see the conversation was already in
to,
policy.
would you like to include this on the,
Yeah, I think if we can make it a standing committee, I'm sure other members will have policy as we come forward, and we can continue to work on it. I would love to, and Ms. Moore said this, our first meeting of the term, we need to go through all our policies. So I think the committee would be very helpful.
okay. All right, so we'll try to set a date for that and see if we can get that policy committee going. Okay, anything else on this subject? All right, we'll move on to 6.3, new business. Do any board members have any new business?
I've got a couple.
Okay.
I swear they're easy. First off, in the future, relatively soon, I would hope, can we have a discussion or a presentation on how after-school programming is decided in terms of calendar? What I'm getting at, and I've already talked to you, Superintendent Gill, about this, is a lot of our after-school programming ends before the school year ends. And I know some of that deals with snow days and what have you, but I know, for example, Boys and Girls Club after-school activities at the schools ended on May 24th when we had school going until today. So I'd like to see if either we can extend those opportunities or at least open up scope or something else to parents who need that extra week or two of coverage that they do not currently have.
Yes, acting on that, I've already talked with everybody and said we wanted to have a meeting about that and see what options we would have for next school year.
So that's one.
All right, thank you.
Want me to do
It
my
was
own?
more than just you that got stuck in a little bit of a,
I'm happy with picking up my kid at 3 o'clock every day, but I can do that.
Some people-
Other parents can't.
people can't.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And you had another one?
I do. I'd like to find out, and we may already have this information, I just don't have it available, how our association of school boards determines what bills they will be supporting and what bills they will not be supporting at the General Assembly, and how we have input, if any, in that. I'm getting specifically at HB 2078, which thankfully passed and is moving forward, which raised the minimum requirement of salaries for teachers to $40,000 by 2023, 2024. And our association came out pretty strongly against that. And I'd like to know how we can have involvement in that. And I don't know if everyone here thinks we should have been for or against it, but I was disappointed to see that our association asked us to speak out against supporting our teachers.
Well, and we certainly would not have, that's not like on us, it's really on you to call the IASB, so I would do so if you would like to. I think the one thing about House Bill 2078, it was, for us, we're very, very close to that number right now, and we will be, easily there by the scheduled event to get there by 2024, right, Joe, is when it has to be to 40,000, and what was the number you said we were at? You had it. With credible earnings.
Yeah, and
right.
And I
so
know
it was not going to be a burden on us.
Agreed.
Even if we went to 40,000 immediately, it would be minimal. I think IASB, they also serve a lot of the smaller districts in Southern Illinois who were unfortunately like 20,000 short of that, or 15,000. So I think they were looking at the interplay between evidence-based funding and the gap that they have, and when the state starts paying people what they are owed, it will definitely help them able to raise teacher salaries, but to do something that's unfunded mandate without also raising. So at the same time, what I've understand with the budget, I know it's yet to be signed, but it's close, is that our evidence-based funding has increased also, which might help some of those smaller towns be able to get towards that goal. So I think it's just a hard conversation because of the disparities across the state and the ability to raise local dollars to support schools. But there should be opportunities and forums for you to reach out as school board members. They serve you.
do we have a liaison to the association from this board?
We do not.
I mean, we all liaison, I know, but I mean, do we have somebody appointed?
No, we don't have somebody that's
Okay.
appointed as an IASB liaison.
Okay.
Obviously, I have a lot of reach out to IASA and the large unit school district who are on our behalf.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that's also something that I support. I think it's good to know that superintendent said we could just ask you to make a call and to support it also. If that's something you want to do in the future.
I get dicey when I'm paying for an association that does that, but I understand.
Okay.
But you must also note that we are updated, and as a board member, superintendent has brought it up before, but, you need to do some research on your own budget.
Well, that's why I brought that up, because I've done research.
So we belong to an association, we have to keep up with them ourselves.
I agree. I'm just asking if we have some liaison from the board. I will definitely go my own way on that. That's fine.
Okay.
I've been slapped before by former boards by going my own way.
Yeah, I'm
but
getting ready to call you your
understood.
name, so you got it, right?
Not now, kids. Not now.
Well, I don't really think that it's necessary to have a liaison, though, because we're all invited to go to their monthly meetings and,
Right.
and
And we
to call
haven't
them
been
at
as
any
active as we
time.
used to be. We used to be more active.
So,
And to be
I've
clear-
tried to go a couple of times when they've canceled the meeting because they didn't have enough people to go.
Yeah.
I think Tom Bertrand, under his leadership, he's trying to change some of the things. So I think he would be he's a Central Illinois guy. I think he'd be very open to that.
And to be clear, I'm not calling for us to have like an official liaison. I was just asking if we had one. So,
All right.
sounds good.
Great, that's awesome. You're making this a long meeting.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Well, I have a question before we move on. Well, if we're done with that, you gave us this thing for summer
I've
school
got
for high
that.
school.
I'll update that during my superintendent's bulletin.
So you have the elementary dates in there, too?
Yes, I've got
It's not
everything
in
to
here.
present out. That was a flyer that they made because we're getting ready to go into enrollment, and they wanted you to have a copy, but
Okay.
I've got everything listed out here.
All Alrighty.
I'm not up for a bit, we still have that. So 6.4 on electronic school board, where they highlighted proposed changes for the student family handbook. We just wanted to give you the heads up that you can look at those, and then we're voting at the next board meeting, so there's not a vote on it tonight. We just wanted to let you know that there were changes on that. If you have any questions over the next 2 weeks, Jason was headed that up, and so if there's any questions that you have, he'd be happy to answer them. Do you have any highlights for us tonight, Mr. Nguyen?
What I will tell you, if you start on page 18, that's where the first changes come in. From 18 on, you'll see in blue highlight the changes that have been made to the handbook. We've had 2 handbook meetings. The first was with administrators from all levels and some parents. And then today we met for, again, to follow up with some of the changes that were in here for them to review these changes and see if there's any additional change that they wanted to make. There was some punctuation and grammar things, but in terms of big changes, there were no other big changes here. It was around what we're doing with discipline in terms of how we're wording things with our graded behavior support system and what intervention looks like versus consequences, some of those things. We made some adjustments there. Made a small adjustment to dress code in terms of piercings and what we're going to do in the middle school with piercings and how we're going to work with that. Other than that, there aren't very many major changes that we've done about 4 years ago with major changes.
I have a question. So in updating this, did you take into consideration some of the things that Zaire talked about during his presentation?
We did these updates prior to that. We did take into consideration what we could with discipline and consistency. There was some wording in there about dress code and specifically that this is the district dress code, and each school then has the ability to add different parts to the dress code based on the culture and climate of their building. And so we have some things, we put that wording in there. In terms of what Zaire put forth with academic purposes, it doesn't fit exactly into this because this is around a lot of the discipline components, and that's really what we focused on. So the credits and those things, those were standard. We didn't touch that portion of the book.
Mr. Nguyen, I think it is, and this was just kind of, it is important for us at the beginning of the year, and Mrs. Morrison, I believe this kind of falls under your boat too, to have those conversations though with our administrative teams and ask them for some of that consistency. It does pose a problem if one school is allowed to carry their cell phones around and have HUD-buds in and the next is not, or if we have some discrepancy on ripped jeans and some of those things. There was the era where the yoga pant was the conversation. We've moved past that now. We're onto the ripped jeans world. I guess my era would have been the faded miniskirt. I don't know. It's, there's always something new that we need to discuss, but I think having those conversations amongst our middle schools across all of our disciplinarian and APs would be great, just to say, hey, let's try to, because when kids move in and they're across 3 districts, or they, one family hears that they get in trouble for this at one school and that at another, it causes us some problems. It's just, it's the life of living in a big district. But we accept that. It's easier when you have one high school, but we have 3, and we have to make sure that we're trying to move forward like that. So thank you for having those conversations at the onset of next school year. I appreciate it. Okay.
All righty. Now we'll move on to presentations to the board.
So this presentation, I'll ask Mr. McVeigh, we're ready for you here. Every year, we have to submit our federal grants for approval to the Illinois State Board of Education. And in the past, each of our 3 federal grants had to submit individual reports, and now they're a consolidated report called the CDB. Highly aligned with our school improvement plan and our SMART goals that we have for the district. And I just asked Mr. McVeigh to represent our federal grant programs. We do have Mrs. Meg Thurman in the crowd who does the Individuals with Disability Act, and also Mrs. Boozer, who does the teacher support with Title II, which provides our support for our professionals in the classroom, and Mr. McVeigh for Title I services for our students with low income status in our district. But all of these will be consolidated now. You're going to have these to review and vote on at the next school board meeting, so that's why we wanted to give you a small overview, like over today, so.
Yeah, I'll be pretty quick. Thanks, Superintendent Gill, President Zimmers, Board of Education members. So yes, every year historically, we have some sort of federal plans that we have to put forward. I was looking back through some of the things that I've had to endure, like the Rising Star, district-wide Title I plan, Title I needs assessment plans. But currently, the last couple of years, we've been under the district-wide school improvement plan, which is actually kind of a model that a lot of our state agencies are kind of pushing as a great plan to model by. This plan actually incorporates everything that we do within our federal programs, so it makes the task of us completing this consolidated district plan, the CDP, pretty simple in a way. We actually found out in April, so we were given well advance notice that this is due in June. And we found out that we had to consolidate all of these plans into a single plan. And then the programs that are under this plan, so any federal funds that we take, simplistically, and I put this in the little board packet that was...
I just put it into your bullets.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So there's some more information in that, but basically it's Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, our school improvement money, and our special ed programs. So in order for us to get those funds available to us here in late June, we have to have this consolidated district plan approved by you and then uploaded to Illinois State Board of Education. So our district improvement plan is actually going to be that guide. So we're going to be pulling all of that information and uploading it into the CDP, easy for me to say. And you're going to find a copy of all of those questions that are in the consolidated district plan in that board packet, but just basically highlighting that we are taking the information that we currently are using is going to make it very simplistic for us, and believe it or not, the work is nearly complete. We have our root cause tomorrow, so anything that might come out of that, we'll make sure that we get into that plan. And then all of that is uploaded through our Iowa system into a format that they have that we have to complete. I will have that probably in a PDF format before the next board meeting. I do not know how many pages it is. It could be 10, it could be 30, but I will at least have a PDF format for you to see where we've answered the questions and the information we've put there. Once Superintendent Gill gets your approval next board meeting, she will then push a button, as I so to speak, to call it, to submit that plan to Illinois State Board of Education. They will completely review it and give approval to that plan, and then at that time, they will actually open all of our consolidated applications in order for us to gain our budgets. So at that point in time, we can start building our budget. So we're a little bit later due to this plan, but we'll be okay. Because what we do and what we've always done is that we're very mindful with our spending, that it is aligned to our performance goals within the district improvement plan already, and that all of our spending follows each and every rules of federal programs that we have. And that is what I have for the consolidated district plan. It's what I know and what Superintendent Gill said. If you have any questions,
We'll get that out to you as soon as we possibly can, so you have plenty of time to read it before the next board meeting and, ask us any questions. But we follow the rules and guidelines of those. It's very specific guidelines that you can follow for how you can spend the federal funds. So. And that flows through the state board. So their federal dollars come to state board. We have to assure it through this planning process. They approve it. Then those funds are opened up to us to
as another
spend.
Consolidated process, yep, that we fill out and submit back to them for approval.
So you're applying to apply.
We're applying to apply, yes.
I love
and
the
I
fence.
loved, Ms. Boozer and I were in a meeting that says, we're making these plans so much simpler for you. They're not going to be part of your application, so you don't have to do that part. No, you have to do this part, which is a little bit bigger.
And I see Joe Groves in the back, and we have one more year of our school improvement grant, and it follows the same process as well. So paperwork after paperwork after paper, assurances after assurances, but that's what we do during the day.
I will say that it was nice, I would say over the last month or so after finding out about this plan, that a lot of our teaching and learning teams were able to get together and really take a deep dive through our current district improvement plan that you've already approved and be able to see all of the things that we're doing that align to all of our federal programs.
All right, thank you.
Any questions? Okay, thanks, Mr. McVeigh.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll move on now to 8.1, business reports.
Hey, Mr. Basco?
President Zimmers, members of the board, for May, education fund revenues totaled $9.3 million and expenditures totaled $13.2 million, with expenditures exceeding revenues by $3.8 million. In the operations and maintenance fund, $826,000 and expenditures were $1,448,000, with expenditures exceeding revenues by $869,000. And as of the end of May, outstanding state payments total $708,000.
Boy, that sounds good. I know that sounds weird to say, but it sounds good. It's unbelievable that it's under $1 million, so that's awesome. And from what I read, with the outcome this week in the budget, that the transportation categorical will be increased next year. It was, it's mentioned in there, we've yet to get any of the, how it will look and how it will feel, but if we can improve our revenue from the state in the transportation categorical, that will help us greatly. All right, thank you.
Any questions, Mr. Basco? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to superintendent's report.
So I wanted to give you an overview of summer school enrollment that was requested, and we do have a flyer for the upcoming summer school program for Springfield High School. This is not, students can still register for this. We have registration on the 17th, am I right, Mrs. Morrison? Okay, so all of the programs that are outlined in here, students can call and get enrolled, and there's information on how to do that, and it's online as well. But we have several concurrent running and kind of staggered summer school programs that I wanted to highlight for you. Our elementary program, which is going to be in partnership with Camp Compass, is going to run at Feitchen's, and it will be very similar to our previous program in the morning and in the afternoon. Give students an opportunity to have activities and events that they would normally do kind of in a summer camp model in the afternoon as well. And that runs June 17th through July 26th, and we currently have 350 students that have been invited and accepted to attend. Our middle school program is going to be held next door here at Grant Middle School. It will run June 25th through July 12th. We have 65 students in a program called Extreme Middle School, kind of they're in the middle of their middle school program. We have 30 that are in transition. Those are kiddos that are heading into high school that are going to are they coming in, Mrs. Morrison? Coming in from 5th grade into transition into middle school, so kind of getting a jump start on middle school. We have 30 kids that are bridged, and that is the height going into high school.
That's the Algebra 1 readiness.
Right, so getting ready for high school with their Algebra 1, and so that equals 150 students overall that are invited into the middle school program. High school, we have 3 different programs, as you know. The Lanphier program has 250 that are currently signed up, but they are expecting about 250 to 270 overall. They're working with kids right now at the end of their school to get them enrolled. That is between, all of our high school programs will be going between June 25th and July 12th. Southeast currently has 179 officially signed up, again, expecting about 250 students to enroll in that program. And then once again, the Springfield High one is our other official program, and some students can even attend and pay to attend from outside of our school district as well. So we're expecting that enrollment to be very high as well. We also have a summer school program for our students with special needs called ESY, and it's running concurrent to those other programs, June 25th through July 12th. We have 94 of our early childhood or elementary students signed up, 42 middle and high school, 44 life skills students, and then 33 called compensatory services or other services that they may need during those summer months. So, and those are all held out at Lee School. All right, so those are all of our summer programs that are being held. Also, at each of those sites, we're running summer feeding programs. There was a nice article that I just noticed was posted online by the SJR that is really starting to talk about those. And also, Channel 20, I think, has picked up a news story about our summer feeding. We have 11 different sites over the summer that will be open up to those programs. It's free for the students and a nominal fee for adults who may want to eat alongside them for breakfast, lunch to be served. And it's up to children of 18 years of age or younger for free at all the participating locations. The only day they are not serving is on July 4th.
Okay, so, you need to send that email to me. I want to see it.
Oh, certainly, I have it. And I believe we did send the summer feeding one out to all district because it was a press release today. And you do get the press releases, but I can send that specifically to you.
We got it.
What? Okay, all right. Later in the meeting, we're going to kind of bring back to conversation our waste hauling services. I did send out those bids from both sides to you, and it looks like you've got your paper turned open to it in the superintendent's bulletin. We had two different bids. We had Waste Management bid and Republic bid. And you can see that I've also put the previous bids from, the last time we went out for bid, we did 5 years, and it was in 2014. So you can see where the bids were at that point in time. And then you can see that we've had a dramatic uptick not only in waste hauling, but also in recycling charges. Republic was higher in their waste hauling. They were more reasonable in their recycling. But in talking with them, that's because they were higher in their waste hauling. They're kind of giving us a deal on the recycling. They won't allow us to separate those bids. They would likely go up. Recycling would go up if we did not choose their waste hauling services. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of the way it works, yeah. So you can see, and Mr. Mars, I believe you brought this up at the board meeting, we are looking at a $24,000, a little bit over increase in waste hauling services overall in the bid just for next year's bid from where we were in 18-19. So it's just a continual cost. I know that Board Member Johnson reached out to me and said, how does that determine? It's based on the size of the dumpster, the number of dumpsters that you have at each school, and the number of times that it's picked up per week. These numbers develop over time just based on the amount of trash that is produced at those schools. And the waste haulers know, their business, and they know what they need to recommend. For instance, Adams School, it's kind of a mid-sized elementary school. They have a 1 6-yard trash container, and it's picked up on Tuesdays and Fridays. And they also have 1 2-yard recycling container, and it's picked up on Thursday. Where at Jefferson, they have a larger, they have an 8-yard container, and they have 1 2-yard container for recycling, but yet their trash is picked up 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, based on the amount that they produce, and they get recycling picked up on Monday. So it just varies per school, and the high schools, of course, have even more, and they pick up every day at the high school, so.
That's correct. And it depends on their amount of volume that we've seen over time. And just how many times they're picked up. Washington gets picked up every day. But Jefferson,
yeah.
It's just a matter of.
But these prices have gone up astronomically. I mean, is there any?
And it's
Yeah, but
with their
well, pretty soon it'll be more than our regular budget to pick up some trash.
Let's hope.
Well, that's the way you're going if you look at this crowds here.
We went out for bid, and these are the companies that bid on it, and
There's only 2 groups in town that can handle our volume and get them picked up basically before school starts. We don't really care for them to come out when the buses are coming. Thanks for 2 minutes.
All right, but in 5 years to go up from $25 to $300 for recycling, that's crazy.
If you follow recycling, there's no market for recycling anymore. Our overseas markets, just reviewing what was in the news, it's gone. There's no overseas market for recycling. It has to do a lot with contamination of the recycling that we get them.
not us, but
Us as a
people,
society.
as a society. Yeah.
Not us as
We do our part,
They do
but
not
it's
want,
hard.
they want clean plastics, they want clean cardboard, they want clean, the overseas markets just don't want it. And so there are warehouses full of recycling bales. I think that's the reason it's gone up. I still believe that recycling is a positive
Is this wrong on this sheet?
What?
If you look at Republic,
That was
in the
in
previous
2014,
bids,
yeah.
they were high.
Yeah.
They were astronomical. Now they've gone down to $64.
But they went up in but their waste hauling went up higher, so.
I don't know, it's the boys that get the bid. I can't answer that one.
You did talk to them about splitting the, yeah.
Yeah, it would be, we would not want two different haulers on our site. I think there would be
Who is our current provider?
waste management.
So I guess my question is, when previously they were charging $25 a building, was that extremely low?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Market was better 5 years ago.
Because back then, the only alternative was $335, $336.
They could sell the product, because we don't take that profit. They can sell their cardboard or the paper or the plastic. They're allowed.
So the price kind of reflects if they want to deal with recycling or not.
Waste management representative told me that a lot of people are not recycling. They're just going.
But we teach reuse, renew, recycle in our schools, so we find that's a little bit
I
hard.
still believe
nut to swallow.
recycling is a positive thing for society. That's just.
Well, I know that, obviously, it just, a $24,000 increase in over 1 year. And I probably should have done some due diligence and read into the cost of waste removal, but, and it's going to continue to escalate over the next 5 years. I think, well, we're guaranteed for 3, is that correct? Mm-hmm. And then the fourth and fifth year.
We choose the other 2, 5.
Right, that would be the locked-in price. But I mean, so we're going to take a $24,000 increase this year, and when it's all said and done, we're going to go from right now we're paying $73,168, and in 5 years from now, we're going to be paying $110,796 or more.
I don't know what the alternative is. That's
No,
what
I
really
understand
worked
that,
through
but
this with Daryl.
that's a
Bill said he couldn't
huge
get it out.
increase.
No, I didn't.
Everyone gets a shovel.
These numbers take into our gas tax increase.
Well, out of curiosity, not that I'm suggesting this, but if we didn't want to deal with recycling, could we just go with the waste
I would probably,
portion?
I would recommend we rebid it then.
The waste is going to go up.
And just rebid it as, come and get ours.
So these numbers come together.
Yeah, they'll come together.
So you have to think, right now, we separate our trash out by trash and recycling. It could push some of these schools needing a larger container, right?
Yeah.
Because if you add 6
Or
plus
more
2, that
pickups.
equals 8.
Yeah, or
So
more.
you would need an 8-yard
We would have to
container.
reevaluate how they're picked up.
So with only 2 basic customers, or with 2 waste management haulers, services, I guess I'm trying to say,
I mean, we cast our net wide. We got all the people, yeah, there's only 2 that bid on it.
so that's what I'm saying, is they kind of wash each other out, so the only real question would be if you want recycling or not.
Yeah, but
Lake area is not, they don't have enough, they don't have enough.
the waste management, we have been with them for how long?
Oh.
The last 5 years, for sure.
They switched the last 5 years, before it was waste services, or allied services.
Same thing.
Yeah, but recycle, I mean.
So you don't
public
get any
goes out.
credit for being a damn good customer, huh? That-
Well, it's their cost. They're struggling with their costs, am I right?
I don't know.
You don't get any credit. I mean,
I guess not.
because just to the recycling, I think when I was looking at it earlier, it's $10,000 more than what it was.
Well, and the most difficult thing is that we're picking up so many more buildings and the price is going up. Usually it goes the other way.
Yeah.
The
Years
more,
ago, when year one of the last contract, we only had 17 buildings that participated in recycling. Over time, it started making sense too, because we were overfilling the regular dumpster with boxes from the food service and pizza parties. Well, pizza parties are still supposed to go in Springfield.
That's contaminated.
Speaking of contaminated recycling.
I think publicly, we better be very careful about how we couch this, because we teach all of our kids from K through high school about conservation and recycling, and just to say we're going to dump it because it's costing us an extra $20,000, I think just bad PR on our part.
Well, that's not what I'm saying, because I am a recycler and I take my own bottles to the recycle place on 6th Street. Yeah, all right, I am a recycler, so I'm not trying to say we don't. But I think we're getting ripped off in the price. I mean, I don't know,
Well, and I think in the educational world, we have a tendency to get ripped off. We've been an Apple customer for 150 years, and they still don't cut us any deals. I mean, it's just...
We're going to have that conversation soon.
What would it look like if we separated it out? If we had a bid for the waste hauling and then a separate bid for the recycling? I know you said that...
You would have two.
I know that, but what is so difficult about that?
Well, the competitors.
So I think when they bid, they took their waste and their recycling, so Republic took it. So if you separated it and said, we want you just to bid on recycling, they're likely to increase it.
Right, because I'm sure they'd want both.
You can't.
They want both.
Right.
You can hardly drive onto the site for
Maybe, yeah.
by the time you have employees, truck maintenance, and diesel fuel.
And like you said, gas
Insurance.
prices with taxi going up.
Those are the things that.
So for 3 years, they're going to have to eat the gas price, right?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Unless
They
they
gonna give it to 'em up
anticipated that
front.
there was going to be a tax increase on the tax.
They may have considered that, though, when they were bidding, kind of thinking ahead.
These will be the numbers that I'm pretty sure.
All righty.
I just had one other thing that was super positive. Congratulations to Zaire. He couldn't be here tonight for us to give him yet another shout out, but he was the Sangamon County Susan Cookhouse Educational Trust Student of the Year, which is huge because he got a $10,000 scholarship. So way to go to him. But we also had Christina King from Lanphier High School win a $5,000 scholarship, and Raj Sinha and Harris from Springfield High and Harrison Rumpel from Southeast were second runners up, and they each got a $2,500 scholarship. So we did very well with District 186 in showcasing our students at that event. It's part of the Community Foundation and the work that they do for our community. So we had a lot of great celebrations. Just one more thank you to the Bank of Springfield Center for helping us really set everything up and even giving us suggestions to go into next school year. We had 764 hands that I shook on Saturday and another 45 the night before at Lawrence. So like I said, I was pretty tired yesterday, but I got up and kept moving forward because I had a graduate of my own. So we had some great experiences. You mentioned 75% attending 2- and 4-year colleges. We also had 11% that have said they know their career path and they're heading into the workforce. 5% are enlisting in the military, and 4% are going on to technical school. So we have students that know where they're going and have students moving forward, and so I'm just very proud of that. I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to the Springfield High girls soccer team. That's just a little personal thing for me. First time that any girls soccer team in the Springfield area has made it to the Elite Eight. We lost in the super sectional, but winning that sectional title is a great piece of hardware. It's the first time that we've had that from Springfield High. So we're excited about that. Lost 0-2 to Troy Triad, but they were a good team. But we held them until the 25th minute in the second half, and so we were proud of that. And they scored a header that was like a snowball, which was a hard one, and then just a really good goal on us the second time. But just proud of that. And I just want to take time, I sent out a note to all the teachers district-wide today, thanking them for their service, thanking them for the good days, and thanking them for the hard days that they endure, thanking them for all the time and preparation that they put into the work that they do for our students each and every day. And once again, just to end it, thank you to all of our retirees. We had a lot of great service. Even the teacher that I student taught under at Ridgely Elementary retired this year. So just a shout out to all of our retirees. That's all tonight.
Any questions of the superintendent?
Do they not have classes on Friday in the high schools for summer school?
Summer school's on Fridays, no. Just Monday through Thursday.
Okay, well, now I'll move on to consent action items.
President Zimmerus and members of the board, I recommend approval of consent action items 10.2 through 10.4 as described in the corresponding resolutions.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Mars,
Morris.
I am going to say, I'm very, the waste hauling is just, that really sticks with me. I don't know if we really have much of a choice. I know that we've done some due diligence on, reprocessing the bidding, and I appreciate, Joe and his team and I think Rick or Daryl. I'd say that's a lot of money, and I know it's garbage, but it just seems like it just seems really outrageous. I mean, we're going to go from 72,000 this year to whatever we do to 86,000, and that's not counting the recycling on top of it. And then, like I said, by the time we're all said and done, we're going to go from 73,000 to 110,000. I mean, that just to me is that is astronomical. We're going from that's 27, that's 37. It's a $37,000 increase in the next 5 years. I mean, that is a lot of money. And I realize that we have a lot of garbage. I understand that.
Okay,
but
we're to vote now.
How would you like to vote, I think is what he's asking. It's 11.4.
No, 10.4.
Should be 11.
It should be 11.4. Unless it was 10.4 carried over from the last meeting.
Yeah, the consents are 10.
yeah,
Is it
was
carried over from the last meeting? So it's
because the
10.4?
public hearing, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to vote yes on everything except 10.4.
Okay. McFarland.
Aye.
Miller.
Yes.
Moore.
Aye.
Ringer.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes with the voted no on 10.4 by Mr. Mars.
Okay, we'll move on to roll call action items.
Mrs. Sherman?
President Zimmers and members of the board, the superintendent recommends adoption of the personnel recommendations as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote.
McFarland.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ringer.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mars.
Aye.
That is 7 aye
A
votes.
couple things on this. I just want to thank again Mr. Sherman and HR department. We never have any corrections. We appreciate your due diligence for getting those out correctly. I sat through so many board members when I was younger going, why is there so many corrections? And you guys knock it out. I appreciate all of your hard work in the HR department. Ms. Baker's out there in the crowd, and also thank you for all of your work because non-certified are on there. Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. And then also, can Angie Burris, you just got named Director of Accounting, so congratulations to you. And you have a family member. Got anybody with you you'd like to introduce? I could have introduced him myself. I figured I'd let you.
My boyfriend is Andre Jordan.
Yes. And he serves us well in the community as well with the AARP, so thank you for all the work you do in our community. We appreciate that. And just welcome aboard. And so I'm excited. All right.
Does anybody have anything else? Hearing nothing, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and our next scheduled board meeting will be on June the 17th, 5:30. Everybody have a great week.
I'll still send it, I will, but if you don't get it,